Welcome to Your Powerful Legacy TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Kristina Ping. She is CEO of Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services. And to our viewers at home, do you realize in retirement that you're going to have some financial changes? Well, what type of changes that you have and how those are navigated depends on how ready you are when you embrace those changes. We're going to talk to Kristina in depth about this today, so thank you for being with us. Kristina, there's a song that this reminds me of. Can you guess?
Oh, yes, we know.
We ready? Changes.
So much fun.
Forgive us at home. I know we didn't practice that, but it's true.
What
right?
do you do when you put besties on a show?
Yeah, you never know what you're
anything
gonna
but
get.
have fun.
You never know what you're going to get. So I love that. But yes, changes. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of changes that happen when you're heading into the retirement years. Well, first of all, you make the decision that you no longer want to work any longer. So wow, the change there is you don't have your paycheck coming in. That's a huge change for a lot of people.
Don't have the paycheck. So paycheck, folks, the exact thing that we are talking about right now is income.
Yes.
In retirement, nothing matters but after-tax income. If you don't have a tax plan, you don't have an income plan, the full financial plan, and then legacy and estate planning beyond, we need to sit down and have a conversation about that one. Listen, when we're talking about income, what are those income sources for you? First off, Social Security, that's about 36 to 40% of our average retiree's income. Did you get your Social Security timing right? What if you haven't filed yet? We can sit down and talk about that. What would be the best time?
Okay, and I know a lot of people have questions about that.
Yes.
So, you know, talk a little bit about that. Obviously, it's so important when you're looking at the different sources of income in retirement. Again, let's just imagine your paycheck has gone away. Talk a little bit about Social Security, but retirement savings as well. The 401ks, that's a big one. What do people do with those? Pensions, you know, what are we talking about exactly with income?
I want to talk about the difference between a pension and like a 401k. So pensions are defined benefit plans that your employer has contributed to, whereas your 401k is a defined contribution plan. Back in 1978, they made a lot of big changes and they shifted the responsibility over to us. So now we're the ones who are contributing. Now, a lot of times these employers are going to give us a match, which is so kind of them. That's awesome. They're getting a tax advantage for it. So yay, you know, there's another one of those. And then the tax bill will be due down the road. Well, we've had some major changes here. The Secure Act 2020, Secure Act 2.0, they have made some major changes to taxes to where you can actually have availability to contribute more to Roth 401k inside of your plan.
Oh, wow.
That's available, which would grow completely tax-free, and the distributions in the future would be tax-free. No required minimum distributions. I mean, all sorts of awesome changes with taxes.
That is amazing. Well, you had me at tax-free because that sounds wonderful. Everyone loves tax-free.
Tax-free, whoop, whoop.
Let's talk a little bit about people that want to perhaps work part-time for income in their retirement. Do you have a lot of folks that say, I'm not quite ready to not do anything. I want to still do something. What about part-time work?
I'm laughing because I just had a conversation with these retirees that we got them retired, and it wasn't even 2 weeks later, and the gentleman called me up. He's like, well, Kristina, I can't do this. I've got to do something. I'm like, what do you mean? You had this huge list. He goes, well, I'm finished.
He stopped the list. He's like, there's no more?
He's like, I didn't realize that it was going to get done so fast.
Oh.
He said I was working as if I had somewhere that I had to be because he's been so used to being to work. And so he said, you know what, I think I want to go back to work part-time at Home Depot. I stopped into Home Depot and asked him if I could get a job application because he likes to work in home improvement.
Why not? I think that's fantastic.
Okay. I told him, I said, I'm going to go down your aisle wherever you are because you're probably not sitting there on your phone texting people, and you'll actually be able to help me and tell me where the right aisle is for the electrical or the plumbing or whatever else I need.
That is true. That is true. Well, I love that he came to you and said, I want to do this. What do you think? And you were like, absolutely. If it works for you, go ahead.
The number one thing that it made me think of is the happiness level.
Yes.
We want you to be happy in retirement. So if you're not happy because your honey-do list is all all finished. You got done so fast and you just want to go back to work and have a little bit of fun. Technically, it's not work when you enjoy what you're doing.
Most definitely. So talk a little bit about people that their income sources could be from other investments. Perhaps they have real estate, they have rental income.
Yes.
Do you have a lot of folks that come in that have various avenues, various streams of income sources, I should say?
I do. So, you know, in Kentucky, Indiana area, we have so many gorgeous horse farms. So I do see a lot of farmers that actually was their second job, because a lot of people have this misunderstanding that farmers are wealthy, and that's absolutely not true. It takes a lot to make ends meet. And so when they go into the farming on the full-time basis, well, then you realize, whoa, I've got a lot more that I want to do. And so farming could be another source of income because you actually amp that up and it does better. Well, then what if you have some real estate? What if that's out there, some rental property,
Yes.
or maybe you like to fix things up and sell them? It's not like it is on TV. I've done this many a times, and it is not at all like what you see out in the western states where they're buying this super cheap and they're putting, you know, 6 figures inside of it and then making another 6 figures. That's just not real. And so sitting down, having a conversation with a professional who really knows how that's going to work and what is going to be best for you, how much capital can you risk? Should you risk your capital at all? Probably not. So we would talk about that one too. Is it best to have a mortgage inside of your retirement? So we would talk about those rates and what that does to your income, because when you're paying interest, it actually can drop your income.
Wow, and I want to talk about that a little bit if we could, because the next thing is the reduced income, if you will. A lot of people that are coming into the office for the first time, they're sitting with you and they're saying, gosh, Kristina, I've been doing so well my whole life working in this wonderful career, and I have my paycheck that comes in and there it is, and I'm so happy, but that's going to go away, and now I'm forced to live on my savings and I feel like I have reduced income. How do you help people navigate that?
Well, for most people, if you can live on about 75 to 80% of what your working income is, and you have saved enough to supplement the gap income between the Social Security or pensions guaranteed income coming in and what it is that you actually need to meet that number, you're probably going to be okay. But there are a lot of other factors in there. Of course, taxes being the huge one, we want to make sure that we're paying as little in taxes as possible to maximize that income distribution. But also, when we have the conversation about the volatility of the market or risk, so your risk tolerance, what about fees inside of your portfolio? What about inflation, and how does that affect your spending power? Or does it erode away at your spending power? And then last but not least, what about your health care?
Most definitely. A lot of people delay retirement because they don't want to lose their health care benefits. Are you finding
Yes.
that to be the case?
I am seeing that 65 is the new 62. We were seeing a lot of folks that were retiring at 62 because that's the earliest that you can file for your Social Security. Remember, when you file early, you've just locked in that Social Security. And you can't earn more than $23,400 because there's an excess earnings limit. So knowing all of these rules, make sure that you're getting the timing right with all of these amazing benefits that create your entire retirement income.
What if someone's in the audience today and they're thinking, oh my gosh, I started my Social Security too soon. Can I stop it? Can I start it later? Is there a redo? Can you get a redo for something like that?
Yes, the government is so generous. If you pay all of that back within the first 12 months, then you can stop it, you can suspend it, and then pick it up at a later time, but you do have to pay it back. So sitting down, having that conversation about what would that take to pay that back, what would be the reason why. I've had folks that have actually been laid off or their job has been eliminated, and we've had to stop and go ahead and take Social Security because there wasn't any other income. Well, then here comes along a blessing and another opportunity, and they're like, I want to take this. I want to go back to work. This is great. I wasn't finished anyway. And so they've actually paid back that Social Security, and it's been worthwhile. So we would sit down and calculate what that would take.
Wow, so you have to pay it back.
Yeah, how nice. Money that we already earned. Again, why am I not in politics? Because I wouldn't win.
No.
I don't think that should happen.
You're just far too kind and generous.
Just way too realistic, right?
I know. Well, Kristina, I know how busy you are, and yet you have saved some spots aside for the people that are in the viewing audience today that really want to come in and meet with you. Can you talk a little bit about what that feels like before we open up the phone lines and take our very first commercial break today?
I know that you're concerned about your retirement. What does that look like when you actually shut off your paycheck and turn on a paycheck from your life savings? This is a huge milestone. I don't want you to be alone. Let us bless you with information, folks. We are opening those phone lines. You can also jump on and take a look at Powerful Legacy Quiz, Powerful Tax Bill, and Powerful Retirement Quiz. 3 different opportunities, and we'll give you those throughout the show, so don't worry about writing anything down. 3 opportunities to go in and take a look before you come in and see us. What is this going to feel like? What is this going to look like? And you'll see it's not as difficult as what you think. Let's sit down and have a great conversation about your life, your journey, and what it is that you want to do to spend the rest of your life financially healthy, financially well. 877-893-5099 is the number that you call there on the screen. We're going to set you up for a complimentary written financial plan.
Kristina, thank you so much to the viewers at home. The number to call is 877-893-5099. And again, we're talking about all of the changes that are going to come your way when you make that decision to retire. Are you prepared for income changes? If the answer is no, reach out to Kristina today, 877-893-5099. Or grab your smartphone, click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen, and you can schedule your time with Kristina accordingly. Completely complimentary, but the most important decision that you will make today, you're talking about your financial future, your retirement. Don't miss the opportunity. We'll be right back momentarily on Your Powerful Legacy TV with Kristina Ping. Stay tuned.
So first off, our team is growing by the minute. We have some new admin. I have a brand new full-time Louisville advisor, and just growing and growing. And when I think about the overall culture, and again, family, I want them to be treated like family because we're going to treat our clients like family. So it bleeds out into everything that we do. When people come in to see us, they generally don't shake our hands. They're hugging us, like family. It's such a great environment. Birthdays, we celebrate together. During the holidays, I try my best to do just something very special for that one specific person. And I just think about that culture and how I would want that to feel because I've been in that corporate environment. It is not fun. And so what can I do to have the total opposite? It's as simple as a handshake still means something and my word means something because it truly is a blessing to get to serve others in every way.
Welcome back to Your Powerful Legacy TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Kristina Ping. She is CEO of Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services, and we're talking all about the changes that you can face and will face when you're going into retirement, specifically with your income. And in this section, we're going to talk about your expenses. So, Kristina, I'm thinking about a lot of things that possibly would change when someone retires. Obviously, they wouldn't be commuting as much back and forth to the office. Perhaps they go out for lunch with their colleagues, so those expenses would go away. But what other types of expenses do you see people coming in with when they're making the decision to retire?
Well, these expenses that we really want to not talk about are probably going to be the taxes and the healthcare. Those are the 2 largest changes.
Okay.
Folks, we're seeing more and more folks that are trying to retire at 65 or maybe a little bit older to really maximize that Social Security and those Medicare benefits. It can be so expensive when you have not planned for this and you have to retire and you don't have those benefits available yet. What is that going to look like if something like that happens?
Most definitely. And when you think about it, so many people need to also think about all the fun stuff they want to do. I mean, it's fun, but it's still an expense, right? All the trips that you want to take and maybe the gifts for the grandbabies. I mean, these are all expenses. How do you help people really dial in to figure out what is it going to look like for me in retirement?
Well, I want to make sure and give you an insight here. The type of advisor that I am is just who I am. Here it is. You ready for this? Gentlemen, close your ears if this is going to bother you. The word budget and grandchild do not at all exist in the same sentence. Those grands, oh gosh, I would give everything for the little grands. It's just the best thing in the whole world.
Absolutely.
And when you think about what is that budget? What is it going to look like for me? What does my income look like? What does the spending look like? Everything is going to be completely different. But we want to keep you the same as far as your comfort. I don't want you to feel like you have to make decisions between medications that you need and staying comfortable in your home. That's very real, and we have some people that have had to make those decisions. So sitting down, having the conversation, making sure that you're going to have enough income, that's going to be huge.
And talking about enough income, something that we also have to talk about right now as far as expenses. Kristina, long-term care. I mean, a lot of people don't like to think about it because they want to just picture themselves just growing old and doing well and not needing anything. But for long-term care, what are people looking at on average, and when should they start planning for that, budgeting for that long-term care expense?
I want to give a little bit of an unfortunate statistic here that 70% of people over the age of 65 will need some type of long-term care. So numbers don't lie. We know this. We need to be planning for this. And to be quite frank, no one has ever come into my firm and said, I want to go to long-term care. No way. Nobody wants to. They want to spend time in their home and be with their family and people that they love and be around their familiar surroundings, especially those that are suffering with Alzheimer's, dementia, whatnot. I mean, it's better to be at home. You're healthier at home.
Most definitely.
So what do we do to hedge against that? Did you know that you can actually build income multipliers in some type of annuities for long-term care situations and even home health care? That's not for everyone, but that is available. There are also new life insurance plans that include long-term care riders on top of those. So instead of paying for that standalone long-term care, which can be very expensive and can continue to increase as you age, we can build that into your plan a little bit different, that's more cost-effective and more efficient with the benefits as well.
That's amazing. So when should someone start really planning for long-term care? Because I know a lot of people have that question. Do you start in your 30s, 40s, 50s? Is there a magic number, if you will?
Well, there's not a magic number, but I will tell you that the more those aches and pains start to come along, the more real it becomes that there could be a day that you're not able to take care of yourself and you do need some help. And my children personally have been telling me for a while, you know, we pick your long-term care, Mom. So we need to make sure and keep that nice and favorable when we're talking about the Sunday dinner, right? We want to give them some extra good food. I'm totally teasing. When we're talking about long-term care, folks, this is the number one thing that I see completely devastates retirement plans. If this is not planned for, it can derail everything. What do you need to do to hedge against this risk? Long-term care risk. It does go hand in hand with longevity risk, so we would have that conversation as well.
Most definitely. And I know that we tapped on this earlier, but so many people are curious about just this whole Social Security piece. Like, when do you start really claiming your benefits? What is the strategy? What types of questions do you ask people that are coming in for the first time, Kristina, when they're saying, I have no idea when to turn on my Social Security? How do you help establish the right age?
I had a gentleman that came in and said that his best friend, his fraternity brother, said, start your Social Security at 62 because it's probably not going to be there. Well, this gentleman was still continuing to work, and he's an attorney and was making really good money. That was terrible advice from his friend, and I ran a simple Social Security report. That's all he wanted to talk about. He took it back to his friend, and then he realized, oh, my best interest is not in mind. All that's going on right here is just talking about my assets and what's being gambled in the market. So we sat down and had a real conversation, a full written financial plan, and he's now my client because he realized I was given terrible advice. And getting the timing wrong on your Social Security benefits could mean tens to even hundreds of thousands of dollars difference. Did you know for most couples that just even have an average Social Security benefit, you're a Social Security millionaire in your lifetime possibly? That is huge. I remember when millionaire used to feel like this massive number. Do you remember that?
I do.
I was having a conversation with my boys about the national debt. You know, we're up there in those trillions, close to $40 trillion. Yeah. We were looking at the debt clock because they had never seen that before. And when we were talking about, oh, how expensive a trillion is, I remember back in math class in elementary school, trillion was like this unknown number.
Oh,
like it wasn't even real. Billion was even huge. Because back when I was young, I mean, there wasn't national debt.
No, I know.
It had been actually cleared. We were in the black with Carter, right? So,
yeah,
you know, just a little bit different life now that we're just so comfortable with debt that it's in the trillions.
Most definitely. And
but
it's
a dollar
scary.
doesn't go the same as what it did, you know, 50 years ago.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. So obviously, retirement savings, people need to figure out when to start drawing from retirement, if you will, and how do you do that, the amount? Because some people have a variety, if you will, of different retirement accounts. How do you help determine, start with this one, leave that one sit? How does that work?
The number one thing we're going to be looking for as to which account to be pulling from is which one is going to be the most tax efficient. We've got to make sure that you're going to have income that you're not going to outlive. And folks, when we're having the conversation about your taxes, I know that doesn't sound like it's really fun. I like it. I think it's great to talk about taxes because that's one of the ways that we can save you so much money inside of your retirement plan when we get it right. Be proactive, have a good tax plan, make sure that that income, that taxed income that has already had the taxes paid on it,
Yes.
that's the only income that matters. Why are you talking about anything else? It doesn't matter. So make sure that you get those taxes right. What if you retire and that very first year you take a buyout? This is happening quite a bit right now.
Absolutely.
And you receive a big lump sum and you're paying almost 40% between your federal and state taxes on that lump sum. Well, do you want to try and withdraw from a qualified retirement account before the end of the year? Probably not. That's a really big tax bill. Oh, but wait, you already spent your entire package? This just happened. Now it's time to have a conversation about more income? Well, it's an emotional thing. Sit down and talk about this. It doesn't go well all the time, but what can we do to get you back on track and make sure that you're not going to outlive that money?
Kristina, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, there's a number for you to call on your screen. That number is 877-893-5099. If you're in the viewing audience today and you're approaching the retirement years and you don't have a solid, holistic plan for all of the changes that will come your way, well, this is your opportunity to call in today and book that consultation with Kristina. 877-893-5099, or we've made it even simpler still. You can grab your smartphone, click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That takes you right to the landing page of Powerful Legacy, and you can schedule your one-on-one consultation with Kristina. Completely complimentary, no obligation whatsoever. All you have to do is pick up the phone or click on the QR code today. We'll be right back momentarily on your Powerful Legacy TV.
There is no shortage of opinions about annuities. Some people love them, others hate them. But here's what matters. The right annuity in the right situation can solve very specific retirement challenges. Whether it's guaranteed income, market protection, legacy planning, different annuities are built to serve different purposes. The problem is, too many people own annuities that no longer match their goals, or worse, never did. Some have high fees, others come with outdated features, and too often, people buy them without understanding what they're getting. If you have been holding on to an annuity for years, or if you're not sure exactly what you have and how it works for you, now is the time to take a second look. Our complimentary annuity review can help you understand what you own, what it's doing for you, and whether something is better in today's market. Refinance your annuity today and make sure it's working for you, not against you.
Welcome back to Your Powerful Legacy TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Kristina Ping. She is CEO of Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services. We're talking all about the changes that occur when you make that step into retirement, and that's what today's show is all about. Kristina, we talked a little bit about this, but pensions used to be kind of a thing of the past, if you will. We still have some companies that have them, of course, but how does pensions play into the changes that people can face in retirement?
So pensions are starting to just completely fade away. Most of them are government pensions these days. Remember, folks, that a pension is a defined benefit plan. This is something that your employer has contributed to, not you. And so all pension plans do have some advantages and they do have disadvantages. The major disadvantage in most pensions is it does not keep pace with cost of living. Most pensions don't have a cost of living adjustment built into them. All pension plans are an annuity. So what is an annuity? This is when you contribute to, over a period of time, or a lump sum into an account, and then you annuitize or get a stream of income from this account. Is your annuity what's right for you? Did you pick the right pension payout? What if you made a mistake? How do you correct that? Is it possible to change beneficiaries? What does this look like? With a lot of pension plans, no. You can't make changes. Once you've elected this, you can't make any changes, and we've got to work around that. So sitting down, having a good conversation about what that means for you. This is why annuities get a really bad rap, is that a lot of people think annuities are like those pensions that once you die, that money is just completely gone. That's not the case. A lot of annuities, whatever money you've contributed that has not been spent, will go to the beneficiary.
Okay.
So make sure that you're talking to someone and you understand those differentials. If anyone does try to talk to you about an annuity of any sort, ask them these simple questions. Why is this what's best for me? Show me how and tell me why. any advisor that is practicing that fiduciary responsibility is going to be able to answer all those questions for you very easily. And when you're talking to an advisor, what is the title of this advisor? Yes, most of us with those licenses and we're managing assets, we're fiduciaries. Maybe you're going to see CEO as a title. Someone said the other day on social media of some sort that business owners are not CEOs. Why do they do that? Why do they give themselves big titles? Well, what is a CEO? Mine is written right there on my desk. I am the chaos extinguishing organizer.
I love that because I've known you for so many years, and that does actually make sense.
When retirement feels chaotic, I am the extinguishing organizer of this.
I think that's brilliant.
In all fairness, as an owner, you're wearing all of those hats.
Yes.
You are truly a
Yes.
CEO. It's fine. I mean, go look it up on AI. You're going to find that that's absolutely true. And for a lot of you, you're the CEO of your household.
Yes.
Or perhaps you held a higher position in your corporate business. And when you make that transition over to retirement, it feels very different. Your identity feels different. So we would sit down and talk about that.
Most definitely. And yes, that describes every mom that's out there right now. We're all CEOs. I love it. I love it. We'll talk a little bit about how changes can occur in someone's taxes, if you will, in retirement. Can that often be the situation where it changes a little bit when you enter those years?
The number one misconception that I'm seeing is that people think that their taxes are going to go down in retirement. Right this moment, folks, I would like to ask you, obviously I can't see your hand raising, but please raise your hand if you think taxes are going down. No. They're not going down. They're probably going to go up because we do have a lot of debt and it's got to be paid for in some way, one way or another. Do we have some ways that we can have tax savings to fit you in lower brackets, make sure that we're accumulating in a tax favorable way? Yes. That's what we would be talking about with taxes in retirement.
Okay, and then really quickly, I know we only have a minute and a half left. Inflation. Talk a little bit about that before we do our close.
Inflation has felt like a big elephant on our chest over the last few years. I know as a mother of boys, we have a big grocery bill. And I love having my children over for dinner on a regular basis. And my little grandson, that popsicle bill went through the roof back over the summer. And when you think about inflation and how that can completely erode away at your retirement savings because inflation can sometimes outpace whatever interest it is that you're earning, how do you hedge against that? That's a major risk, inflammatory risk of your retirement income and the erosion of those dollars. So sitting down, having that conversation about factoring in inflation into your retirement plan. If it's not factored in, you don't have a plan.
That's exactly right. And Kristina, really quickly before we say goodbye to the viewers at home, you've saved some time for those viewers that want to come in and sit with you. What does that look like to them?
We have, folks, if you're worried about your retirement income, you're worried about taxes, you're worried about those changes in your expenses in retirement, we would love to bless you with information. Give a call to that number on the screen. Come in and see us. Come and get your complimentary written financial plan.
Kristina, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back 1 week from today on Your Powerful Legacy TV with Kristina Ping. Take care now. We'll see you soon.